Hey, I'm Malone Capone. It's 2:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today is Wednesday morning, I guess. I don't normally do political videos. My grandfather told me never talk about politics, religion, or football teams. But there's a video that I haven't even watched in its entirety, and I kind of want to break it down. And who knows, maybe tomorrow morning when I wake up, I'll take this off. But here it goes. Um, This is the Detroit Democratic meeting where the basically the debates or the highlights of the first half. So here we go. I'm going to break it down for you and see what happens. Thanks for watching. Hope you can hear that. And already off the gate, there's a dude. I don't know his name yet. I'm gonna make a note of it. Got a blue tie on. He's tall. He doesn't even have his hand over his heart like the rest of the Democrats do. So right off the gate, I don't already like this guy. So it's only going to be about 12 seconds of this song, and we're going to keep going from there.
We did that with abolition, and with women's suffrage, and with civil rights. And now it is time for a generation of Americans to rise up again. For an amoral economic system has turned short-term profits for huge multinational corporations into a false god. And this new false god takes precedence over the safety and the health and the well-being of we, the...
Anytime you have a government who puts the faith in corporations, just like in Italy and Germany, that's called fascism. And that was started by who? Not Trump. Not Trump. Let's listen.
The American people and the people of the world and the planet on which we live.
America is great, but not everyone can access America's greatness. The systems that were built to lift us up are now suffocating the American people. The economic system that used to create $30, $40, $50 an hour jobs that you can have a good, solid middle-class living now force us to have 2 or 3 jobs just to get by.
And who started that? Oh, that's right. Bill Clinton, when he started outsourcing all of our jobs to Mexico and China. Let's listen.
Real. Tonight we debate, but ultimately we have to beat Donald Trump. My background, it's a little different than his. I stand before you today as a granddaughter of an iron ore miner, as a daughter of a union teacher and a newspaper man. Yes, I have bold ideas, but they are grounded in reality. And yes, I will make some simple promises. I can win this. I'm from the Midwest, and I have won every race, every place, every time. Donald Trump is part of a corrupt, rigged system that has helped the wealthy and the well-connected.
He's part of the system, like you said, part of it. What's the other part?
And kicked dirt in the faces of everyone else. We're not going to solve the urgent problems that we face with small ideas and spinelessness. We're going to solve them by being the Democratic Party of big structural change. We need to be the party that fights for our democracy and our economy to work for everyone.
First of all, America is not a democracy. It's a republic.
Tonight in America, as we speak, 87 million Americans are uninsured or underinsured. But the healthcare industry made $100 billion in profits last year. Tonight, as we speak, right now, 500,000 Americans are sleeping out on the street, and yet
they made $100 billion in profits, right? Whoa, isn't that called Obamacare? And what's the reason why there's how many people sleeping on the streets? Maybe it's because you don't take care of your veterans. And who started that? You do the math.
And companies like Amazon that made billions in profits did not pay one nickel in federal income tax.
Congressman Delaney just referred to it as bad policy, and previously he has called the idea political suicide that will just get President Trump reelected. What do you say to Congressman Delaney?
You're wrong.
Oh, that's so profound. You're wrong. And so are you, Bernie. You're an independent from Vermont, and you want to bring socialism to America. How is that a republic? You want to bring socialism to this great country.
5 minutes away from here, John, is a country. It's called Canada. They guarantee health care to every man, woman, and child as a human right. They spend half of what we spend. And by the way, when you end up in a hospital...
When you end up in a hospital in Canada, they don't have the world's greatest doctors like we do. You get substandard, subpar healthcare. We have some of the greatest doctors in the world, and a lot of people from Canada come to the United States for specialized surgery that only we can provide.
In Canada, you come out with no bill at all. Healthcare is a human right, not a privilege. I believe that. I will fight for that.
So this is what I think we need to get done. We need the public option. That's what Barack Obama wanted, and it would bring healthcare costs down for everyone. And by the way, I just don't buy.
Oh, it would, huh? Well, since Obamacare was started, explain to me why it's gone up 200%. I would love to hear this argument.
Yes, I've heard some of these candidates say that it's somehow not moral if you not moral to not have that public option. Well, Senator Sanders was actually on a public option bill last year, and that was Bernie, the Medicaid public option bill that Senator Schatz introduced. Clearly, this is the easiest way to move forward quickly, and I want to get things done.
What I am talking about, and others up here are talking about, is no deductibles and no co-payments. And Jake, your question is a Republican talking point. At the end of the day,
that sounds all great, but who's going to pay for this? Are we going to borrow trillions of dollars from China to pay for all this? I don't know. I'm just asking. I'm a dumb wop from New York.
And by the way, the healthcare industry will be advertising tonight on this program, Senator.
Senator Warren, it's your turn.
Oh, can I complete that, please?
Your time is up. 30 seconds.
Advertising tonight with that talking point.
So I'm the only one on the stage who actually has experience in the healthcare business. And with all due respect, I don't think my colleagues understand the business. We have the public option, which is great. The public option is great, but it doesn't go far enough.
The basic profit model of an insurance company is taking as much money as you can in premiums and pay out as little as possible in health care coverage. That is not working for Americans across this country.
Thank you, Senator.
Medicare for All will fix that, and that's why I'll fight for it.
It is time to stop worrying about what the Republicans will say. Look,
Yes.
if it's true that if we embrace a far left agenda, they're going to say we're a bunch of crazy socialists.
You
If we
are.
embrace a conservative agenda, you know what they're going to do? They're going to say we're a bunch of crazy socialists. So let's just stand up for the right policy, go out there and defend it.
Okay. So no matter what you say, you think that you're going to be called a socialist. So might as well just tax everybody to fucking death, right? You never talked about how much this would cost the average American. The people with jobs, because the people without jobs aren't paying for shit.
If Medicare for All is enacted, there are more than 600,000 union members here in Michigan who would be forced to give up their private health care plans. Now, I understand that it would provide universal coverage, but can you guarantee those union members that the benefits under Medicare for All will be as good as the benefits that their representatives, their union reps, fought hard to negotiate?
Well, two things. They will be better because Medicare for All is comprehensive. It covers all healthcare needs. For senior citizens, it will finally include dental care, hearing aids, and eyeglasses.
But you don't know.
Second of all,
You don't know that.
Second of all,
Come to the second
I do know. I wrote the damn bill.
So the bill was written by a socialist. What's up, CC? Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. I don't normally make videos like this. I don't really like to touch on politics or religion. And I don't know. I might be on for a little while. I do appreciate you watching. You know, it might turn a lot of people off. I hope I don't lose subscribers, but I felt as though something is telling me that I needed to do this. So I appreciate you. I hope I don't lose your subscription. You know what I mean? So thanks for watching, but it could get ugly up in here.
And the data is clear. Medicare does not cover the cost of health care. It covers 80% of the cost of health care in this country. And private insurance covers 120%. So if you start underpaying all the healthcare providers, you're going to create a two-tier market where wealthy people buy their healthcare with cash, and the people who are forced, like my dad, the union electrician, who had that healthcare plan taken away from him, they will be forced into an underfunded system.
I want to give Senator Sanders a chance to respond.
How it works is this. If you're on Medicaid or Medicare, you're poor. You can't afford it. If you have a good job, you can have private insurance and it'll cover almost everything. You'll have free benefits. These are people with jobs. Stop looking to the government for handouts. Simple and plain. Stop looking for the government for handouts. I don't get food stamps. I don't get a handout from them. If I want to eat, I have to work. And I think everyone else should too. Because you are the reason. The people that don't work are the reason why this country is in bankruptcy. Not the Republicans. It's the people who don't want to work. And when you say there's no jobs, that's a cop-out.
On the Medicare for all, the hospitals will save substantial sums of money because they're not going to be spending a fortune doing billing and the other bureaucratic things that they have to do today. Second of all, maybe you did that and made money off of healthcare. Our job is to run a nonprofit healthcare system.
When someone
Thank you,
comes
Senator.
here.
Just to clarify, would you decriminalize illegal border crossings?
The point is not about criminalization. That has given Donald Trump the tool to break families apart.
Thank your response.
But you are playing into Donald Trump's hands. The challenge isn't that it's a criminal offense to cross the border. The challenge is that Donald Trump is president and using this to rip families apart.
Answer your response.
Who rips more families apart, Donald Trump or feminism? Just curious. Comments
What we're talking
below.
about here tonight is what's wrong with American politics. And the Democratic Party needs to understand that we should be the party that talks not just about symptoms, but also about causes. When we're talking about health care, we need to talk about more than just the health care plan. We need to realize we have a sickness care rather than a health care system. We need to be the party talking about why so many of our chemical policies and our food policies and our
Oh, you mean like the way big pharmaceutical companies have the cure for cancer but won't give it to us because they can make more money by giving us radiation and putting a Band-Aid on the real problem when they have the cure for cancer and won't give it to us? Is that what you mean?
agricultural policies and our environmental policies and even our economic policies are leading to people getting sick to begin with.
Thank you.
That's what the Democratic, but I want to say more
Thank you,
about
Ms. Williamson.
Okay,
Thank
I'll
you, Ms.
come back to me this time.
Go ahead.
This isn't just about a system, or it's not just about words. This is about the NRA. I sat across from the President of the United States after Parkland because I've been a leader on these issues and have the bill to close.
I appreciate you for watching. It's going to be a little bit of a crazy video. It's not my normal standard video. So it's kind of a political one, which I don't really get into a lot of. But I do appreciate you watching. I hope you're having a good night. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you.
Close the boyfriend loophole. And I watched and wrote down when 9 times he said he wanted universal.
I hope you can hear this. Can you hear the volume
the
on
next
this?
day he goes and he meets with the NRA and he folds.
Washington, D.C. is captured by dark money, the Koch brothers, and others. That's been the fight of my career. Kicking the Koch brothers out of Montana, taking the first case after Citizens United up to the Supreme Court, making it so that elections are about people. That's the way we're actually going to make a change on this, Don.
The issue of gun safety, of course, is that the NRA has us in a chokehold. But so do the pharmaceutical companies, so do the health insurance companies, so do the fossil fuel companies, and so do the defense contractors. And none of this will change until we either pass a constitutional amendment or pass legislation that establishes public funding for federal campaigns. But for politicians, including my fellow candidates, who themselves have taken tens of thousands and in some cases hundreds of thousands of dollars from these same corporate donors, to think that they now have the moral authority to say, we're going to take them on, I don't think the Democratic Party should be surprised that so many Americans believe yada, yada, yada. It is time for us to start over with people who have not taken donations from any of these corporations and can say with real moral authority.
And who are we to trust? You? Can't trust any of you bastards. Not one of them. And I don't want to speak as a man, but I'm just saying the only thing men and women can really agree on. Well, you know what I'm going to say next, but I won't say it.
Authority. That is over. We are going to establish public funding for federal campaigns. That's what we need to stand up to. We need to have a constitutional amendment. We need to have legislation to do it. And until we do it, it's just the same old, same old.
Right. Thus concludes part 1. I'm going to take a little break from the madness. Grandpa was right. Never talk about politics or religion because you can really get into a heated debate. But without a debate, nothing ever gets solved. And you see all the Democrats just sitting up here fighting amongst themselves. They can't even agree to get along. You got a guy, Tim Ryan, who didn't even cover his heart during the Pledge of Allegiance or the national anthem. But I want to watch just one more, if you don't mind.
Seeing the field economy going down,
We're
definitely going to lose horsepower. Just going to continue.
I hope you can hear this.
We have Rudy Giuliani, President Trump's attorney. We got Mike Huckabee,
That's not what I wanted to
20.
hear. Let's scroll through this. This is an impromptu video.
They're not going to go along. You throw your hands up, but you haven't.
Okay, so I'm gonna start this in the beginning.
They're not going to go along. You throw your hands up, but you haven't.
What do you say to Congressman Delaney?
You're wrong. Well, I'm right about this. His math is wrong. That's all I'm saying.
You don't know that.
Second
We'll come to you in a second.
I do know. I wrote the damn bill.
But you are playing it.
I gotta stop it, otherwise I'll get a copyright strike if I don't interject on something. They were talking about a lot of shit. I'm trying to get to the one video I wanted to watch. I think this might be it right here. This is the actual one I wanted to watch.
Ms. Williamson, what's your response on the Flint water crisis?
My response on the Flint water crisis is that Flint is just the tip of the iceberg. I was recently in Denmark, South Carolina, where there is a lot of talk about it being the next Flint. We have an administration that has gutted the Clean Water Act. We have communities, particularly communities of color and disadvantaged communities all over this country, who are suffering from environmental injustice. I assure you, I lived in Grosse Pointe. What happened in Flint would not have happened in Grosse Pointe.
You can't guarantee anything, and I'll tell you something else. Where I grew up at, in Long Island, there's a lot of women out there dying from breast cancer. It's because of the water. You got to have water filtration systems out there. It's not just Flint, Michigan. The Democrats always seem to use the minorities as a point because they need the minority vote to win. And without that, they would never win.
Grosse Pointe. This is part of the dark underbelly of American society. The racism, the bigotry, and the entire conversation that we're having here tonight, if you think any of this wonkiness is going to deal with this dark psychic force of the collectivized hatred that this president is bringing up in this country, then I'm afraid that the Democrats are going to see some very dark days. We need to say it like it is. It's bigger than...
Wasn't Flint, Michigan, when the water was discovered, wasn't Obama the president at the time? And they still haven't taken care of the issue. And it was on Obama's watch. Just saying.
Flint, it's all over this country. It's particularly people of color. It's particularly people who do not have the money to fight back. And if the Democrats don't start saying it, then why would those people feel that they're there for us? And if those people don't...
You call them people of color without money? You just said that. You said it's particularly people of color, particularly people with no money. That's what you just said. Who's being racist?
feel like they won't vote for us, and Donald Trump will win.
Thank you very much, Ms. Wilkerson.
Right, he will then.
We want to turn now to the issue of race in America.
It's about to get juicy.
President Trump is pursuing a re-election strategy based in part on racial division. How do you convince primary voters that you'd be the best nominee to take on President Trump and heal the racial divide in America?
We'll call his racist.
Remember Trayvon Martin? Well, if I had a son, this is what Obama said. If I had a son, he'd probably look like Trayvon Martin. Remember that? Trayvon Martin, whatever his name was. I don't know. I don't see how that helped the fucking racial divide. That really didn't help much. Huh. Go figure.
Racism out for what it is and also talk about its consequences. It doesn't just offend our sensibilities to hear him say, send her back, about a member of Congress because she's a woman of color, because she's a Muslim American. It doesn't just offend our sensibilities when he calls Mexican immigrants rapists and criminals or seeks to ban all Muslims from the shores of a country that's comprised of people from the world over, from every...
He didn't say immigrants. He said illegal. He said they're coming over here illegal, and half of them are drug dealers, and some of them are rapists. And he didn't say the Muslim woman to go back. He said, if you don't like it here, you can go back to where you came from.
A tradition of faith that is also changing this country. Hate crimes are on the rise, every single one of the last 3 years.
Hate crimes have been going up way before 3 years, bro. Do your research. They started when Obama, and I bet you if you look back, it'll be going beyond that. Probably right around the time Obama became president, and when he wasn't defending the cops getting shot, and the whole Trayvon Martin shit. Okay, it didn't go back 3 years. Do your math and do your research, and then come at me with facts, bro.
Years. On the day that he signed his executive order attempting to ban Muslim travel, the mosque in Victoria, Texas, was burned to the ground. So we must not only stand up against Donald Trump and defeat him in this next election, but we must also ensure that we don't just tolerate or respect our differences, but we embrace them. That's what we've learned in El Paso, Texas, my hometown, one of the safest cities in the United States of America, not despite, but because it's a city of immigrants and asylum seekers and refugees. We will show that our diversity is our strength, in my opinion.
And what city is that? Is that in Texas? When you can walk around strapped like Charles Bronson? Because they know if you're going to try to fuck with somebody, they got guns, bro.
Congressman O'Rourke, thank you very much. Governor Hickenlooper, why are you the best nominee to heal the racial divide in America? Please respond.
Well, the core value behind this entire country's history is working towards a more perfect union, that all people are created equal. And we've fallen far away from that. I think the job is incumbent on...
Except for men in court. We're not created equal. We're the bad guy no matter what we do. Our kids get taken away. I'm just saying. I'm listening.
Any one of us to make the convincing case that we can deliver an urban agenda that represents progress in schools. In Colorado, when I was mayor, we got to universal pre-K for every kid in the urban city. We did major police reform 10 years before Ferguson. Why is it now that 5 years after Ferguson we still don't have anything? How do we get affordable housing? We create a scholarship fund for every kid. You got to deliver a vision like that for the whole country.
Thank you, Governor. Senator Warren, I'm coming to you now. Last week, the FBI Director Christopher Wray said that the majority of domestic terrorism cases this year have been motivated by white supremacy. In fact, the alleged shooter in this weekend's attack in Gilroy, California, referenced a well-known white supremacist book on social media. How are you going to combat the rise of white supremacy?
We need to call out white supremacy for what it is, domestic terrorism, and it poses a threat to the United States of America.
Let's go back to 2001. If we look from 2001 to 2019, there's been more terrorist crimes by what? Can't say the M word, but guess what? Even if I was Muslim, I still couldn't say it.
We live in a country now where the president is advancing environmental racism, economic racism, criminal justice racism, healthcare racism. the way we do better is to fight back and show something better. So I have a plan, for example, on education that says we have to build a better education system for all our kids, but we've got to acknowledge what's happened on race. So my plan has universal tuition-free college for all of our kids, but also increases the Pell Grants and levels the playing field by putting $50 billion into historically Black colleges and universities. It cancels student loan debt for 95.
But if they put $50 billion into historically white colleges, that'd be white privilege.
5% of the kids with student loan debt and helps close the Black-white wealth gap in America.
Thank you, Senator, very much. Mayor Buttigieg, you have been criticized for your handling of racial issues in your home city of South Bend, from diversity in the police force to housing policy. Given your record, how can you convince African Americans that you should be the Democratic nominee?
As an urban mayor serving a diverse community, the racial divide lives within me. I'm not saying that I became mayor and racism or crime or poverty ended on my watch. But in our city, we have come together repeatedly to tackle challenges like the fact that far too many people were not getting the help they needed in their housing, and so we directed it to a historically underinvested African-American neighborhood. Right now, in the wake of a police-involved shooting, our community is moving from hurting to healing by making sure that the community can participate.
Was the cop white or black? You failed to mention that. I'm just saying. You're trying to heal the hurting. People don't like it when the cops get shot at. White or black.
Participate in things like revising the use of force policy and making sure there are community voices on the Board of Safety that handles police matters. I propose a Douglas plan to tackle this issue nationally because mayors have hit the limits of what you can do unless there is national action. Systemic racism has touched every part of American life, from housing to health to home ownership. If you walk into an emergency room and you are black, your reports of pain will be taken less seriously. If you apply for a job and
if you walk into Harlem and you're white and you get your ass beat, they're going to say, what the fuck were you doing in Harlem?
You are black. You are less likely to be called just because of the name on the resume. It's why I've proposed that we do everything from investing in historically redlined neighborhoods to build black wealth in home ownership.
Thank you, Mayor.
To supporting entrepreneurship for black
Thank you
Americans.
very much. Senator Klobuchar, what do you say to those Trump voters who prioritize the economy over the president's bigotry?
Well, first of all,
Presumed
there are
bigotry.
people that voted for Donald Trump before that aren't racist. They just wanted a better shake in the economy. And so I would appeal to them. But I don't think anyone can justify what this president is doing. Little kids literally woke up this weekend, turned on the TV, and saw their president calling their city, the town of Baltimore, nothing more than a home for rats.
It is. And LA's a shithole too. I'll say it for him. I don't give a fuck if you're white, Latino, or black. If you got rats there, you got rats there. I grew up in New York, and there's fucking rats in New York. Am I calling myself fucking? They're rats. They're fucking. It's dirty. If it's dirty, clean this shit up. Oh, by the way, New York's Democratic City too. Wah.
And I can tell you, as your president, that will stop. The second thing I would say is that economic opportunity means economic opportunity for everyone in this country.
Good.
I know that because I have lived it. And that means
economic equality for everybody. That means what? No more affirmative action? Why is there 60% females in college and only 40% of men? How about economic equality for all? You got special grants for blacks to go to college, not whites. Equality, you said.
There, better child care and better education, and we pay teachers more, and we make sure there's a decent retirement system in place. Yes, we help the African American community, and we must, because they have been the ones that have been most hurt by.
Yeah, because without them, you're never going to win the fucking election. So you got to cater to them and call them out. But guess what? They're not buying your fucking bullshit. They're not buying your fucking bullshit anymore. Now there's the internet. Now they see what's going on. You guys are a bunch of fucking liars. And that's why Abraham Lincoln was the first Republican fucking president. Wah.
What we've seen in the last decades, but we help everyone. So what I say to the people in my rural parts of my state, just like I say to them in the city and bring them together, is that economic opportunity must be there for everyone.
Everyone, thank you.
Congressman O'Rourke, please respond.
I want to acknowledge something that we're all touching on, which is the very foundation of this country, the wealth that we have built, the way we became the greatest country on the face of the planet, was literally on the backs of those who were kidnapped and brought here by force. The legacy of slavery and segregation.
Not to mention the Chinese would fucking help build the fucking railroads, and the Irish and the Italians would build fucking New York City. Yeah, true, blacks helped. They did. Everyone played their part, okay? And everyone got a piece of it. And you can't say, now this is not me being racist. I do believe in reparations. There should be some kind of reparations. But at the time, what? It was like 4.5 million slaves at the time. So do the math on that. We'll see if these fucking assholes.
Jim Crow and suppression is alive and well in every aspect of the economy and in the country. Today, as president, I will sign into law a new Voting Rights Act. I will focus on education, address healthcare disparities, but I will also sign into law Sheila Jackson Lee's reparations bill so that we can have the national conversation we have waited too long in this country to have.
Thank you, Congressman O'Rourke. Speaking of reparations, Ms. Williamson, many of your opponents support a commission to study the issue of reparations for slavery. But you are calling for up to $500 billion in funding.
Now, a lot of ignorant people would say, well, a lot of black people get Section 8 housing and welfare and food stamps. Yeah, but there's only, what, 15 million black people? There's actually more white people on welfare than there is black people. So welfare is not for black people. It just per capita, there just happens to be a higher percentage of black people on it, all right? So that does not count as reparations.
Financial assistance. What makes you qualified to determine how much is owed in reparations?
Well, first of all, it's not $500 billion in financial assistance. It's $500 billion, $200 to $500 billion payment of a debt that is owed. That is what reparations is. We need some deep truth telling when it comes. We don't need another.
Slavery started in the year 1619. Now, you have to figure out what the minimum wage was in 1619. Times that by however many slaves there were, plus multiply it by how many hours it was, and then you get the money. Then you have to divide it by the amount of black people there are now to get the correct number. That's the math on it, okay? Boom.
Another commission to look at evidence. I appreciate what Congressman O'Rourke has said. It is time for us to simply realize that this country will not heal. All that a country is a collection of people. People heal when there's some deep truth-telling. We need to recognize that when it comes to the economic gap between blacks and whites in America, it does come from a great injustice that has never been dealt with. That great injustice has had to do with the fact that there was 250 years of slavery, followed by another 100.
Black neighborhoods were doing good until fucking the government came along and kicked the fucking black man out of the house and said, if you kick him out of the house, I'll give you fucking welfare money. Give you food stamps, Section 8 housing, free health care. All you had to do was kick the black man out of the house. And you know why? It was to destroy the black nuclear family. And that's the truth. If people can't handle the truth, it's not my fault if you can't handle the truth. I'm keeping it real. And black people who watch this will learn, and they will know that I'm keeping it real. Fuck this bitch.
100 years of domestic terrorism. What makes me qualified to say $200 to $500 billion? I'll tell you what makes me qualified. If you did the math of the 40 acres and a mule, given that there was 4 to 5 million slaves at the end of the Civil War, there were 4 to 5, and they were all from the 40 acres and a mule for every family of 4. If you did the math today, it would be trillions of dollars. And I believe that anything less than $100 billion is an insult, and I believe the 200 to 500 billion is politically feasible today because so many Americans realize
So give them the state of Montana. Let's do the math. 15 million times 40. Just add 6 zeros. 40 times 15. 4 times 60. Okay. Seven, 8, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So basically 6 billion acres. It's probably the size of Montana, North Dakota, and South Dakota. Plus 15 million mules. No one's going to touch this subject. That's why you don't do politics or religion or football. Because people will lose their goddamn mind. If I say the Giants are the best team, there's always some asshole who says the Patriots are better. And if you say the Patriots are better, there's always some asshole that says the Steelers are better. This country's got a lot of healing to do. And even if you gave reparations, I don't think it would heal much. You're still going to have animosity. You're still going to have racist people on both sides of the aisle. If you put a wall up, you're still going to have Mexicans try to come in over here and bring drugs in. It's up to each person individually to choose the life that they want to live. You don't have to be a fucking racist asshole. I don't have to join the Klan. You don't have to be a Blood or a Crip or a Nieta or fucking Latin King or MS-13. You don't have to be a cuck or a simp either. It's your choice to be what you want to be. But to point the finger at somebody because they're different, that's when you become an asshole. I don't like to live my life like that because people are different from me, because to be honest, no one's the same. Unless you've been cloned. I'm half Irish. You know what we had to do? We got treated like indentured servants too. You don't see me asking for reparations. I just try harder. And when I go on jobs, I get treated like Mexicans. The one guy said, where's the $30, $40, $50 an hour jobs? Well, you have so many immigrants that all these fucking people hire the fucking immigrants, whether they're illegal or not, and they give them a lower wage, which fucks it up for the rest of us. White, black, or Latinos who were born here. That's all I'm trying to say. You figure it out for yourself. I'm Johnny C. Alone Capone. I already went for 40 minutes. I won't be talking about politics too much or religion. And it's your choice to have any religion you want. If you want to be a Muslim, Catholic, Christian, or an atheist, or you want to worship the devil or be part of the Wicca. It's up to you. Don't force it on other people. But who am I to tell you how to live your life? Mr. Dumb Wop from New York. I'm Johnny C. A.K.A. Capone. Thanks for watching. Peace. I'm out.